This is Boomer Life on CIL 650.
And welcome back to Boomer Life on CIL 650. I'm Joanne Sutton, and we're spending this hour with the Alzheimer's Society of British Columbia. CEO Maria Howard is in the studio with us. We had Victoria Schuster just on the telephone from Shawnigan Lake at school, and I think she's back to class. And now we welcome Jennifer Stewart. Jennifer, I want to say thanks for being here.
Thanks, it's my pleasure.
Now, Jennifer has been with the Alzheimer's Society for 9 years. In a variety of different positions, but you're currently the manager for advocacy and education. So you've also played a huge role in the development of a variety of different programs for the Society. Your current focus, I believe, includes new initiatives to build dementia-friendly communities throughout the province and to promote person-centered approaches to care. Is that correct?
That's right.
We're on the right path here. So to me, you have an extremely important role with the Alzheimer's Society. Tell us a little bit about what it is that you actually do. We know the title, but what do you do?
Yeah, so working in advocacy and education, really at the end of the day, our goal is to ensure that people with dementia and their families in BC live the best life possible. And so we're called Advocacy and Education, which I think is a great title for the work that we do, because we really advocate for better lives through education. I think education and knowledge has kind of been a theme in our discussion so far today, and really we see education as a way to advocate for a better life for people in the province with dementia.
Mm-hmm. So do you do most of your work sort of behind the scenes at the Society, or are you tucked away in an office, or are you out connecting with people?
I think we're out connecting with people as much as possible. I mean, awareness is such an important part of the work that we're trying to do with the disease. So being out in the community and connecting with various groups is a huge part of what we do.
So, and also I usually ask people when it's first time to the show, do you have a personal connection to Alzheimer's?
I do, actually. My grandfather on my father's side had Alzheimer's disease, and he had it for a long time. It's a long journey. It can range from 8 to 12 years, is what they say. So for most of my life, my grandfather had Alzheimer's disease, and so that was just part of growing up.
And do you think that's one of the reasons you sort of gravitated to the Society?
I think so. I know with my family, we didn't access the services that the Society provides, and looking back on it, I wish that we had, because there's so much out there for people to get the support and the information and the education they need throughout the journey with the disease.
Excellent. So at the beginning of the show, we talked a little bit about Alzheimer's Awareness Month, the month of January, and the Dementia Friends campaign. So can you talk to us a little bit now about what it means to really be a dementia friend?
Yeah, so as Maria mentioned earlier, there's sort of 5 key things we can think of that we want people to know as a dementia friend. So that includes, the idea that dementia is not a part of normal aging, that it's not just about losing your memory, but there's other symptoms associated with your ability to function on a daily basis. That it's possible to live well with dementia. It's not just there's more to people than just their diagnosis of dementia, and that the Alzheimer's Society is here to help. So being a dementia friend and having that basic understanding, the next step is to think about what you can do in your community to support people with dementia to engage with their community in a meaningful way and continue to do the things that they enjoy.
So what would be an easy way for me to become a dementia friend? And, how am I going to source out the proper information that I would need?
Well, you can visit www.dementiafriends.ca to learn a little bit more. And also our website, www.alzheimerbc.org. And I think it really starts with general awareness. So we know that 60% of people with dementia live in the community, either on their own or with a caregiver or family member. And so even just starting with that general awareness to know that people with dementia are in our communities, and we all can play a role in providing support. So you might be decide to do something really formal, like volunteer for an organization that is helping people with dementia.
Oh, that's a great point.
Like the Alzheimer's Society and the work that we do. It might be if you have somebody that you know in your life who has dementia or is a caregiver, finding ways to connect with them. And so that can be something very simple, paying a visit to a neighbor maybe who has dementia. Going back to the idea that just because somebody has a diagnosis of dementia, it doesn't mean that they can't continue to enjoy activities and engage in meaningful ways with their community. So maybe you have a neighbor who you always played cards with, and they received a diagnosis of dementia. Continue to reach out to that neighbor, and maybe they can still play a mean game of cribbage or something like that. So there's always ways to connect and to continue to support people to engage with their community and with their
Sure.
neighborhood.
So, and you could probably find somebody even maybe, I'm just trying to think of ideas if you didn't have a personal connection and you didn't know somebody in your neighborhood. So you could volunteer with the Alzheimer's Society or maybe even at a seniors community, like a residence.
Yeah, think of what would be meaningful to you and what's available. Every community is different and has different opportunities. I think it also goes back to that general awareness. So just being aware that maybe the person, in front of you in line at the grocery store who maybe needs a little bit of extra time to complete their transaction, maybe they do have some kind of a cognitive challenge. And so just being aware and just being supportive of them and giving them the space and the time that they need to go about their daily life, that can be really valuable to people, and encourage them to continue to get out and about in their community and stay at home longer. Most people as they age want to remain in their homes, so this is one way we can support people to do that.
It sounds great, and I think being a dementia friend is just a perfect place to start. It sounds so simple. You make it sound so simple and so easy. And how does that fit into the bigger picture of the initiative with the Alzheimer's Society of BC about creating a dementia-friendly community? It's obviously just a baby step.
Right. So you can think of becoming a dementia friend is sort of an individual decision to learn a little bit more about dementia and think about the ways that you can support people who are living with the disease that you may come across or that you may know in your life. And dementia-friendly communities builds on that, and it's really about communities coming together collectively to think about how they want to improve accessibility and be more inclusive and supportive to people who are living with dementia.
And what can we give as examples for dementia-friendly communities in British Columbia?
Well, we've had the opportunity to work with a number of different municipalities so far, and we found it's been great to go and connect with the staff who work in the municipalities. So we've had success working with the City of Vancouver, with Dawson Creek, Sicamous as well. New Westminster has been a big
supporter as well. Yes,
absolutely.
Didn't we have a guest with us from one of the councillors from
New Westminster?
New Westminster.
John Stark.
John Stark
right.
is the city planner with New Westminster.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been wonderful to see communities sort of grab onto the idea and take some concrete actions. Absolutely. And working with the municipalities has been so valuable. We've had support from mayor and council in several communities. We've held community events that have been hosted by mayor and council. So and then we have access through that work to educate this various staff departments, such as the police and the library staff and other staff who maybe work in a community center who are coming into contact with people with dementia.
And it was just last spring that the BC Legislative Assembly became a dementia-friendly community by taking the training and declaring themselves. And they are the only legislative assembly in Canada that has taken the training and been accredited for that
and reached that level.
Absolutely,
that's
great.
right. So it's so and that's all on the efforts of on behalf of the Alzheimer's Society BC. That's thanks to all of you.
Yeah, it's been great to see the support from government. Absolutely.
Yeah, the partnership has been great. The BC government, specifically the Ministry of Health, is very committed to ensuring that people in BC have the support they need for dementia care.
So what is the clear vision of a dementia-friendly community? What does that look like to someone like me?
I think we can think of dementia-friendly communities as being defined by both social and physical characteristics. So when we think about the social characteristics, first of all, we think about dementia friends, so people living in the community who know a little bit more about dementia and have the tools and the knowledge that they need to respond to a person with dementia, to interact with them in a supportive and inclusive way. Other examples you can think of maybe programs at a community center being accessible and supportive of people with dementia. We talked about the different departments within a municipality, so librarians and bylaw officers and police officers having education about dementia that's specific to their job, so they're able to support people with dementia. Also, people like bus drivers and bank tellers having the education that they need.
And grocery store clerks and...
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody has a role to play.
All of the layers within a community.
Exactly.
Well, that's a massive number of people to reach and educate, isn't it?
Yeah, that reminds me of a great little story that I heard that I think really highlights what a dementia-friendly community could look like. I heard a story about a woman who went into her bank, and she brought her, she got a bit mixed up about where she was, and she had dementia, and she showed the bank teller her prescription for her medication. Oh. And so rather than sort of turning her away, the bank teller thought about what to do and decided to respond in a supportive way. And so she phoned the pharmacy, which was just across the street, and spoke to them there, and then helped the lady out the door of the bank, and had someone across the street with her, and had someone at the pharmacy meet her on the other side and lead her to the right location for her to get her prescription filled. So I think that just really shows what a supportive community can really mean for somebody who has some of those challenges. And then with the physical characteristics, we can think of things that will make the community more accessible to people with dementia. Things like having clear signage at eye level, wide unobstructed sidewalks, those kinds of elements, places to sit, for example, that can just make it more comfortable for somebody who is out and about in the community.
Why do you feel that this is so important right now at this time to really spearhead this push and this pull for a dementia-friendly community? Why is it so important?
Well, I think our population is aging, and so we know that age is the most important risk factor for dementia. So as that demographic shift continues to happen, we're going to see more and more people with dementia in our communities. And I really think the time to reduce the stigma is really important now for this disease, and that can really be done through education. There's so much we can do to spread awareness about this disease, and dementia-friendly communities is really a way that we've been able to reach a larger group of people with the work that we do that we wouldn't have normally been able to provide that information to.
What would be some of the most important stigmas to eliminate right now? You've got a captive audience. Maybe we could give an example of one or two.
I think one that always comes to mind for me is that it's not normal aging, which we've talked a little bit about before, because I think there's a stigma associated with aging in general as well, that everybody gets dementia, but that's not the case. It is a disease of the brain that has a profound impact on people's lives, and sometimes that can kind of go sort of unrecognized if you assume that it's normal aging.
Mm-hmm. And Maria, anything else that's really important to hammer home right now?
Yeah, I think the other one is that the minute you get a diagnosis doesn't mean suddenly everything comes to a screeching halt. It may feel like it's coming to a screeching halt, but the person is still the person, and still can participate and have a great quality of life. So we want people to not see the diagnosis before they see the person.
Very important. Jennifer, you're obviously very passionate about your job.
You
like what you do.
It's an important cause, and I'm feel honored to continue to move it forward.
Jennifer and Maria, both, thanks for your input. Thanks for being here today. This is An Hour with the Alzheimer's Society of BC on Boomer Life, and as we recognize that January is Alzheimer Awareness Month, we'll also learn a little bit more how the business community can support this initiative. That's all coming up next on Boomer Life on CIAL 650.
Celebrating the baby boomer lifestyle. This is Boomer Life on CIAL 650.